For years, people have argued over mixed martial arts. Either they loved it or they hated it.
I don't like people beating each other up, no?
The conversation of late has completely changed. The war is over and the haters lost. And the man most responsible for MMA's growing popularity is this guy here.
What's up?
Dana White.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dana is the president and one of the owners of UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. He is the public face of pro fighting, and if there was ever a model for a non-traditional sports president, it's him.
At the end of the day, we're all human beings. Fighting's in our DNA. We get it and we like it.
Dana grew up in Boston. As an amateur boxer, he was told he would never make it as a pro. And after running into some trouble with the Irish mob, he fled to Vegas. That is a common story. He got involved in the fight business, also common, but here's where it's uncommon. He bought himself a stake in the struggling UFC for a couple of $1 million. That was just 10 years ago. And today he has turned it into one of the most valuable sports properties on the planet, valued in the neighborhood of $2 billion.
We're on our way, man.
Dana's not the kind of guy, though, that would be content with his success. He's got a plan to make his athletes, like Canadian GSP, Georges St-Pierre, into even bigger stars. Plus, a recent television deal with Fox is another sign that MMA is making a move to go mainstream.
For the first time ever on network TV, the UFC Heavyweight Championship.
And now with his sights set on India and China, Dana is ready to conquer the world. The question is the world ready for Dana?
We're going from Dana White.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I got a big fight on Saturday in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
We like doing big fights in Toronto.
As you should.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get them all in. It was years when you couldn't, right?
Right.
Tell me about this Fox deal. This is interesting because a lot of people talk about sports, even to a degree with the NFL, you know, by going Monday Night Football on ESPN, asking people to pay for cable of sorts. Sports have become more pay for play, but going free. Tell me about what that deal means for your business.
Yeah, we kind of went backwards. You think about it. We started out on pay-per-view, but our goal was to get onto free television. My philosophy has always been, I was a huge boxing fan growing up when I was younger. You know, through the 70s and 80s, boxing was on free television. And, you know, once that pay model came out, the fight promoters were so greedy, they wouldn't put any free fights on free TV anymore. And so their fan base went from here to here over the last 35 years. I'll tell you a lot of things here today that are true. This one, I don't know if it's true at all whatsoever, but it's truly what I believe, and that's really how this company was built, that before a guy hit a ball with a stick, before a guy threw a ball through a circle, two men were put on this earth, somebody threw a punch, and whoever was standing around ran over and watched it. Fighting is the first sport on earth, I believe, and I believe it will be the last. And I think as you know, I don't care what country you come from, what color you are, or what language you speak. We're all human beings, and fighting's inside of us. We get it, and we like it. It doesn't have to be explained to us. Right. For instance, in the United States, the NFL is huge. There's nothing bigger in the United States than the NFL.
30 million viewers per game.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's so big. And if you didn't watch one football game all season, everybody watches the Super Bowl. Yeah. Now, these guys have been spending billions of dollars to try to break into Europe and all these other countries. It's never going to happen. People didn't grow up playing it. They don't understand it. It's like saying cricket is going to be big over here someday.
It's like us saying that hockey is not going to be big in Florida. It just can't be, right?
True. So the thing is, and you guys, maybe this has happened to you before, you could flip onto the Hispanic channel, and two guys are fighting. They're going at it. And the commentator's going, ba la 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 la. You know, he's I don't know what he's saying. I don't care.
That is the name of the fighter. Yeah. It is the name of the fighter he's talking about.
That was after 2 years of Spanish in high school. That's the best I can do. You know, he's going crazy. You don't know what he's saying. You don't have to know what he's saying. This does not have to be explained to me. Right. This is a great fight. I get it. I like it, and I'm going to watch it, no matter what language it's in.
It's in the nascent stages of the sport. I know the big conversation about hockey, and I know they're having it about football, is the protection of the athletes. Right. And I know you guys brought in a health plan for them, for your fighters. In terms of battling things like concussions in the long term, are you doing studies looking at the long-term effects of the sport on your athletes?
Yep. And one of the things you realize when you say, you know, it's very, I heard you guys got a medical plan for your.
It's a huge thing. You brought in healthcare for them.
In the history of the world, it's never been done. Go out and open.
We have it here.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking the United States, where everybody doesn't get health insurance. Right. Go try to open a yogurt shop, okay, with 4 employees, and see how much that's going to cost you for health care down in the United States, right? Now pick up the phone and say, hey, I got 375 ultimate fighters that I'd like to get a plan for. It's next to impossible, and it's very expensive. But we worked on it for years, and we got it done, and it's never been done in history. So that was a huge one for us to get that. And then As far as fighter safety goes and things, one of the worst things out there is the like in boxing, the 3 knockdown rule. Yeah. When the 3 knockdown rule, a guy is basically almost unconscious. He has to the count of 10 to get up again and get knocked almost unconscious again, and then do it a 3rd time. Right. That's what's very dangerous in boxing. In the almost 20-year history of the UFC, there's never been a death or serious injury. Cheerleading can't say that, okay? And when you talk about concussions in these other sports, whether it's hockey or football, their seasons are very short. Right. So the big good players need to get back in there and play. In the UFC, if you get a bad concussion or something happens to you, you're on medical suspension until you're healed.
What does the loss of GSP mean? I mean, it was all over the news here. I'm sure it was in the entire MMA community. It's a big fighter when Russia's out.
Yeah.
I mean, like 10 months, but with him, that means he could fight Saturday. He heals quickly.
Well, he's got a blown ACL, which is common in athletes. But the most important thing for me in my business is he is the #1 pay-per-view star in mixed martial arts. Yeah. George St. Pierre is a big deal, and when he blows his knee out, it really sucks for me. Yes.
So you're not going to be pressuring him, right?
No. Hey, there's only so much you can do with a knee.
Did you hear about this? The city council here and the mayor's comments about anti-bullying and saying that maybe what we should do is teach kids MMA in schools. What do you think of that?
Listen, what people don't realize, and a lot of people are uneducated about mixed martial arts and what it really is, when you and I were growing up, and most of the people here, your parents would put you in karate or taekwondo. This is it. This is the new martial art. This is what kids are taking. This is what women take. This is what men take. I think martial arts training is incredible for anybody. This is what the military trains in, the police departments. I mean, it's it. It's the new martial art. I agree. Let me tell you what, when you can defend yourself, you're going to get bullied a lot less. I guarantee you that.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a big part of it. Let me show you a picture of this guy's face. We did this story the other day on the air. Some mugger picked a fight with some UFC guy, and this is his face. This is the guy who lost. Who was the UFC guy?
I love this. This guy is not a UFC. I just met this guy yesterday in Chicago.
Oh, you met the fighter?
No, it's not a fighter. This guy's just a regular guy. This is what we're talking about. You just talked about the anti-bullying thing. This is a guy who trains in mixed martial arts. He lives in Chicago. He's sitting in his car. A gunman walks up to his car and says, "Give me your money," right? The guy gives him his money. Then he wants his wallet. Then they're exchanging words. The mugger gets mad at the guy. Yeah. Tells him, get out of the car, and he cocks the gun.
Oops.
Yeah. Oops was get out of the car. You should saw how big this dude was, okay? He gets out of the car, and they start to fight. And he beats this guy. This is the mugger. The mugger starts saying to him, please stop, I have children. What? Right?
Well, who knows what socioeconomic reality, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, I mean, this goes with what I'm saying. Yeah. MMA is the new martial art. It's what people are taking. It's possibly saved this guy in Chicago's life. And it possibly makes people who think about mugging people to think twice.
Sure taught that guy a lesson. Last thing I want to show you just before, because you're always so forward-thinking. You've taken this company, and I bet you don't get a lot of time to reflect on what's happened in the past, right?
At all.
What would you say if you could talk to this guy again? Look at this.
We've got veterans on the card. We've got newcomers on the card. We've got 2 belts on the line. What else does the UFC have to look forward to?
Basically, what we want to do is we want to make the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts. We want to make it more fan-friendly. We want to get the crowd involved in it, and we want to bring back the best fighters in the world.
That was your very first event as the guy.
Yeah, it was the first time I was ever on TV. Could you tell?
How long did it take you before you got comfortable in your own skin?
Oh man, it took a little while. I literally I was in New York last week and I spoke at the New York Stock Exchange. I've spoke at Harvard, Yale, Oxford, you name it. I've pretty much spoken everywhere that you could speak. And the first time I told the story the other day, when we were getting sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which was about 10 years ago, and one of the commissioners, out of the blue, calls me up to speak. I'm like, what the hell, what do I got to go up to speak for? So they call me up. I walk up to the thing. She asked me a question, and I literally said, well, Zuffa is a Nevada, and I just froze. I literally froze. I didn't say another word. People are all looking at each other. I think they had to get a dolly up there, pick me up, and wheel me back over to my seat, and my partner, Lorenzo, goes, what the hell was that? I said, I have no idea. I just completely froze. And then that's really the only time that had ever happened to me.
So you just found your way through it?
Yeah, it just, it's not like I did any media training or anything. It just, after you do it enough, you get used to it.
For sure. The big event, UFC 140. Eric, are you going to start renaming them after 140? That's what UFC like 11,000 eventually?
Here's what happened. Let me explain that one. First of all, we never wanted to number these things. We made the numbers go away. The fans kept numbering them. Okay. So it stuck, which ended up being a home run for us because UFC 100 was huge.
I can imagine. UFC 140 at the Air Canada Centre, Toronto, Saturday night, and also you can check it out on pay-per-view. Dana White, everybody. We'll be right back.